Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. It's me, Abraham DeWeese, back again with the SoCal Seahawk, Rob English, and with Nathan Savage. And on the boards, that damn dirty duck, Matt Paige. All right, guys. The Seahawks played maybe a typical Arizona Cardinal game. And by typical, I mean it's the ugliest, least, worst excuse for a football game I've seen since the last time we played the Cardinals. What is it, guys, with us and this team? Why can't we play like an exciting, fun game against them?
It's super frustrating when you go up against the team. I was, after in the aftermath, after days have passed, I've started to feel better about it. But I feel like if you're going to say that you're a good team, even a contender, dare I say, despite the fact that the Arizona Cardinals have been keeping up with teams, they've been playing teams tough this year, and I'll give them their credit where it's due. But they didn't play particularly well against us last weekend. And if you're going to call yourself a contender, you've got to be able to dispatch a team, with relative ease, especially with the kind of game that they played. And so I was fairly disenchanted in how the game played out, despite the win.
Nathan, it almost seemed like we didn't win, did it?
Honestly, so for me, this team right now is reminding me a lot of the earlier Pete Carroll teams where it's defense first, the offense will kind of struggle, and you'll leave the game feeling like, did we really win the game? What was going on? It felt like a big kind of like pile of muck almost. Everyone's stuck in the mud, and then you just keep winning games though. And I definitely think that's where we're shifting to now. Even in the NFL as a whole, it seems like defenses have figured something out. And I was actually really, even though they're painful to watch, you lose a couple fingernails, this is like kind of that old school nitty gritty Seahawks that Pete Carroll used to bring to the table. And it was actually exciting for me to watch.
But there's something wrong with this offense, guys. Why can't they 2 weeks in a row? Why can't they punch it in from the red zone?
So I will continue to attribute our offensive failures, if you will, on the offensive line. There's been a lot of Geno hate going on. If you go on the interwebs and take a look, people are blaming things on Geno. I think Geno has played, dare I say, exceptional this season. I think Geno's been great. He's taking care of the football for the most part. His percentage is still high. But he's been taking hits. He's been taking sacks, and we're playing with a piece together O-line. When you're in the red zone, when you're within inside the 5-yard line, guys, they're going, balls to the wall just to make a stop out there. So, we really need to figure out a way to block things up. That's what I'm going to attribute the failures down low for us.
Yeah, obviously injuries have ravished this offensive line, but I don't think other teams are going to cry for us. Don't we have to adjust somehow?
Yeah, for me too. It's the Cardinals are, they're a solid D-line, but we're about to face like the Browns, who might have the best D-line in the NFL, and then right after the Ravens, who are just on fire getting to the quarterback. And it's just like back to back to back. There's going to be D-lines that are just almost seeming like they're going to upgrade each week. We're going to have the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Niners, just like the cream of the crop. On the D-line. And it's kind of like every game I think is going to be about the trenches, and really, can we just get something going with Kenneth Walker, or can we just get Geno some protection? Because if not, it's going to be these like 13-10, 12-9 old school like Seahawks games.
Well, I think the first thing they're going to have to do is use more DJ Dallas to pass block. I can't stand watching Ken Walker try to pass block anymore. I think a tackling dummy would stop defenses with him. Now, go ahead.
I was just say, it's true. He needs help, or he needs more work at in that task. But you take him off the field, Ken Walker. And, you're taking one of our biggest threats off the field. You know what I mean? So how do you manage that? right? If Walker's off the field, you got DJ Dallas in there who knows the pass blocker. Is that a tell? Or do we know we're throwing the ball in that case? So I know I think it takes away from play action capability and things like that.
Well, Nathan, SoCal just talked about is it a tell when we have certain running backs, and do you think we kind of give it away sometimes too with the amount of tight ends we throw in?
So for me, I feel like the only time really where the offenses have kind of clicked, like on it being able to show up in that Detroit Lions game, it felt like that was with the extra tight ends. And even though I guess in some ways it's giving it away, the way that they were kind of able to disguise it, the way they were able to bring tight ends out on option routes, I actually feel like that's the most dynamic the offense has been. That's the time where Geno seemed like the most comfortable, just having those extra protectors. It feels like recently, since they've maybe it's been figured out a little bit, but they've abandoned that. It feels like Geno is just throwing the ball a little bit faster than he wants to. It feels like when he's getting sacked, it's like 2-3 holes are opening up for D linemen to come after him. And I honestly think that's where the offenses look the best. And even though it seems like it's predictable, Waldron's been really able to come up with some tricky plays and options out of that. So I actually really like right now that tight end package, at least until Lucas comes back and the offensive line kind of starts gelling a little better.
Well, so let's go back to the question about the red zone, guys. I'm trying to put my finger on it. What's going on when we get to the red zone? And it can't just. I refuse to believe the offense becomes bad right when they cross the 20. Is there something we're not doing right? Or is there play selection, or is this just is this a lack of clutch play?
It could be play selection. I mean, everyone knows that Pete Carroll wants to run the football. I mean, that's just what he wants to do. I'm seeing, there, I don't even want to bring up the Super Bowl, but there's a very bad taste in people's mouths about doing things that are extra at the goal line. But, when you have a defense, I've said many times, it's easy to get 1 yard when you need 7, right? But when you need 1 yard, it's really hard to get 1 yard. And if you don't have the guys on the field to block that up, you got Walker who might have just ran, 15 yards or even 3 or 4 or 6 or however many yards the previous play, but getting past that wall where it seems so simple, it's not easy to do. So we've got to find a way to be more imaginative. I don't know if I want to see us doing kind of that Kansas City stuff where you run that shovel pass and, you start the quarterback in motion and throw that quick shovel pass to a tight end, something like that. That's cute. I don't know if we really have the ability to do it, but we've got to expand our horizons a bit to start getting that ball in the end zone for sure.
Right on.
Yeah, for me, I would just say real quick that when they're getting to the red zone, it feels a lot like it's these over-the-top kind of almost broken plays or some really well-designed play where Geno's able to hit Lockett or DK or JSN down the field or get a streaking tight end like you do with Fant sometimes. And those plays, they're just not – everything shrinks once you get into the red zone. And That's just not a threat to the defense anymore. And I think things underneath start to shrink because that deep threat that they're always worried about from Geno is kind of gone. And when it's not – open for Walker to score a touchdown, it feels like this year it's like Geno will throw it over the top, we'll get in the red zone. If we score, it'll be Walker running it in, and if not, we just get kind of stuck and we don't have these good underneath routes right now to get into the end zone.
I think you guys are right, but something's got to change. Something's got to happen soon because we're facing, like you guys said, better teams. Speaking of better, this defense got a heck of a lot better when Jamal Adams got back and Devin Witherspoon started playing more often. Who are you more impressed by?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a clear and obvious Devin Witherspoon as far as, because he's had the splash plays, right? I mean, he's just, you can't not see the guy. You know what I mean? He's out there just making great plays all game long. That isn't to take anything away from Jamal Adams. I think there's been a very clear and direct impact he's had on the game just being out there. No, I mean, he just hasn't had that splash play. He hasn't. He has. Did he get one sack, or has he not got a sack yet?
I don't think he has.
I don't think yet, right? But you've seen him out there, right? I sound like Porky Pig right there, didn't I? Um, yeah, I think, but he's out there, affecting the play. And that's huge. But for sure, yeah, Witherspoon, he had the pick six. He had a pick, unfortunately, that was wiped away by a penalty last week. He's just making plays time and time again. He's the MVP. He's the defensive MVP, or maybe even D-Roy if you really want to get cute with it.
Right on, Nathan.
Yeah, for me, it's just fun sitting back a couple times and looking at the middle of the field with Adams. And I know Pete Carroll was saying that Witherspoon kind of reminds him of Troy Polamalu, where he just seems to show up at the right place at the right time, flies all over the field. And just having two guys like that is just really exciting to watch. Like, I feel like back in the day when you started getting excited about the Seahawks Legion of Boom, you notice yourself moving away from the D-line, moving away from watching whoever the quarterback for their team was, and kind of shifting your focus back into the secondary to see what like Cam was doing or see what Sherman was doing. And I feel like I've been watching this team and I've been starting to do that again, where some of the things that Adams is doing to just really fix some of those like tackling issues that we were having earlier this year and like all of last season is just really fun to watch. It just feels like, Earl Thomas again, just flying around and fixing a lot of these like not too crazy, but just these little plays that maybe will get broken for another 5-10 yards. It feels like he just came in and shut the door on all of that. And a lot of these missed tackles aren't happening anymore, even though we gave up a long run last week to their QB, to Dobbs. It just really feels like when he's in the play, that player gets tackled and it's shut down. And then with Witherspoon, it seems like even against someone like Jamar Chase, he can fully hold his own and he can single-handedly, feel like switch the momentum and win you a game like he did against the Giants with that big pick six. So for me, it's just fun to watch.
Thanks for reminding me about that. What was it, 3rd and 25? And Dobbs.
Yeah, that was painful. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Dobbs is not Michael Vick, okay? Like,
yeah.
It was painful to watch, and when I saw what looked like a very poor tackling effort by Quandre Diggs, I for a good few minutes I was like, have I just lost? Have I just become not a fan of Quandre Diggs? Like, I was like, what happened? But when we saw the play from another angle, what we saw is, I think it was I can't remember who it was that hit the quarterback.
It was Tariq Woolen who like knocked him out of the tackle, basically.
Yes, exactly. He just bumped him off course. Diggs was there to make the play, but the hit he took prior to getting to Diggs just bumped him a little bit further than he was prepared. Once he broke down to make the tackle, he bumped him through it, and so we had to see it from the other angle. I was like, oh, thank goodness, because I was sick to my stomach over that.
Yeah, no, that was even like Darrell Taylor was supposed to set the edge, but he got sucked in, and then trying to get back out, he fell down. Like, there's a few things on that hurt a lot to watch.
I feel like our outside contain was kind of garbage for most of the game, and I don't think it hurt. I don't think it helps that we actually just lost Nuosu to a pectoral injury. My alarms are going off, guys. I think that's a horrific thing to happen to this defense.
For me, I feel like I remember when it felt like the Legion of Boom went from everyone was like starting to hype them up to they became elite and everyone was just starting to talk about them. And it really felt like it was when they got Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett in the offseason.
True.
And I think this offseason, at least, if they can't get it during the regular season with like a trade or something at the trade deadline, this time of like, pretending we have some kind of rush or some kind of solid DNs when it's just not being productive, it's not happening, needs to end. And they just need to figure out a way to either trade or spend a little money and get at least someone on the edge that will set the edge properly. If they're not double teamed, they're going to get to the quarterback, something like that. I mean, Frank Clark is the start of that. They picked him up, but he's not that same player he was when he left the Seahawks and helped win a couple Super Bowls for the Chiefs. And I'm just so tired of having a weakness there when it's such an important and premier position in the NFL.
Yeah. Does he have anything
Yeah.
left to think, SoCal? Frank Clark, that is.
Well, I'm happy to see him back. I know that there were some questions or concerns, possibly, with him coming out of Denver, and he to Nathan's point, he hasn't been that same Frank Clark. I was always a little bit bothered by the way he left Seattle because it seemed that he wasn't producing the way that we might have hoped. But then he goes to Kansas City and gets into that rotation and looks great. It's like, where was that, when you were wearing blue and green? And got a Super Bowl out of it. So I wonder, I watched the interview with him just either earlier today or yesterday. And he talks a lot about, what has changed for him since his first, go around with the Seahawks. He said, mentally is where the game has changed at this point. The game is just the game now. Physically, it's what it's going to be. But knowledge, intelligence is what you bring to the game nowadays. And being in a system he's been in before, I think he might serve to do something great for us out there. It sucks that we lost Nwosu. But maybe we won't see that much of a drop off with this addition to the rotation.
Right on. Speaking of blue and green, oh boy, we got the 90s uniforms, 80s, 90s uniforms back, and I'm excited.
Stoked.
I think they look great.
Yeah, I think without a doubt they're going to show up this week. I think, those cream, whatever, Tampa Bay jerseys are all trying to tell us they're the best jersey in the NFL, whatever, for throwbacks. I think this jersey is about to come in and drop, and it'll be seen this week, and I think it's just without a doubt the best jersey in the NFL. That silver helmet, just the kind of like old school, kind of faded a little bit on the green and blue, and I just think it's no question. I think it's the best jersey in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's nostalgic. We've longed for this, right? Those of us who've been around, long enough. I think some of the newer 12s don't really feel the same way that we might feel about it. But this is awesome. The jersey is just tweaked just enough so you can tell that it's new but still old, right? I'm excited for it. And they just announced today that they only had one date, but they just announced today they're actually going to bring him back for the Dallas game as well.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Can't wait.
I think it's going to show up. It's going to look great on film. It's going to look great in the game, and people everywhere, not just in Seattle, are going to be talking about how good the jersey looks.
I don't know if you guys saw the Eagles throwback jerseys.
The Kelly Green ones.
I thought those were good. I thought they were really good, and because they have like a 2023 cut, so they don't look like one size fits all like back in the day.
The tearaway stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it looks. They look good, and I'm so excited to see that.
One thing I will say is I hope that we win with these on, because remember the first time that we came with an alternate jersey was back. I think it was during the Jim Mora season when we the first lime green iteration of our alternative. Not the current lime green one, but the first lime green one, and we got our butts handed to us by
Bears.
Was it the Bears? Yeah, and they never wore them again after that. So
those were really great because they were like the old school style with that green. Those ones were tough. Those were a pretty crazy color.
Yeah, they didn't like those. No one cared for those pretty much. I like our current green alternative, but that first one, that in between jersey, it wasn't too good.
Yeah, that was the game Mora called the I forget who the kicker was, but called him that idiot kicker. Because I think he missed a couple field goals.
Okay.
But I don't think there's anything good about the Mora year. That best be left behind. Question for you guys: the Browns, that defense, how do we beat them? Matt Paige says outscore them, so that's why Matt Paige isn't on the show today.
Yeah. So the crazy thing about this defense with the Browns is they actually give up some points here and there just because the offense is so weak, and even Deshaun Watson won't be there this week. And we'll see what that means because they did put up a lot more points, it seemed like, once he went out last week. But the thing about them is they just do not give up yards. Your running back's getting tackled 5 yards back. You're getting sacked for like a 6-7 yard loss. They just insane. Before the last game, it was record pace since like 1970, the least amount of yards given up through the first 6 or 7 games. And that's what's scary is like they almost don't let you get going. They don't even let you take that first step because first down, you're already back 2nd and 15. And I'm a little nervous about that because it feels like it kind of counters the Pete Carroll style of running the ball, gaining little bit by bit, winning the like field position battle. And I don't know if you can do that against this Browns defense.
Yeah, I think you had it right at the beginning of your statement, Nate. It's, they are, first of all, they're great, but their offense being so poor is the only. I mean, they gave up 38 points last weekend.
Yeah, they got by Minshew too. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so, but their offense is so poor that they're gonna give the other team opportunities with good field position. And so, you have to take advantage. We're gonna have to be opportunistic, which is usually a defensive term, right? But on offense, we're gonna have to be opportunistic. When the opportunity is there, we're gonna have to take it. We're not gonna. I don't see us having long, sustained drives against this defense. But when we can force them a 3 and out from deep in their own territory, and we get the ball at or around midfield, or maybe at our own between the 40 and 30 or something like that, we've got to get down there and at least get 3 points on the board. But we've got to take advantage of the opportunities because they're only going to be few. And if we can, I think, we can hold their offense down. But if we end up, missing out on the opportunities, it's going to go back and forth all game. And then you missed one play, one blown coverage, and now you're losing to the Browns, So, we're going to have to just take advantage of the opportunities when they arrive.
Yeah, and even with Watson, I feel like it was good for almost 3 or 4 interceptions, maybe a game. But with PJ Walker, even though he maybe isn't as dynamic as Watson, it seems like he cuts down on those turnovers. But with how good the secondary is, I see like 2 interceptions or something like that, and that really being the difference maker in this type of game for the Seahawks. Yeah.
By the way, PJ Walker, former XFL superstar, of course.
Yeah.
But no Nick Chubb. PJ Walker, I don't know. He's still an XFL player. I think you guys are right. And let's get to the predictions here, because I think it's going to be like one of those 14-10 games and I feel like the Seahawks pull it out. How about you guys?
You said 14-10?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week I predicted that we would win that game running away against Arizona. And that didn't happen. I even posted on my social media. I was like, I predicted we'd win this game running away from Arizona, but I'm not very confident in that prediction. I'm actually going to go ahead and double down on this week. I'm going to say that, we get some big plays. I see DK catches something coming out of, he's got a rest. He's going to come in there. I say a big one to DK. I think Tyler has a great day. And I won't even go with receptions. I mean, big play. It might only be 2 or 3 receptions on the day, but DK's going to have one big one. Tyler's going to have a big one, and maybe some dump offs to some of the other guys. I say we win this game by 2 scores. I'm going to say 21-10.
Oh wow! So no Bobo big plays and no JSN.
Bobo, yeah, dude, Bobo's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's the number 1 rated run blocker. That's not even more than tight ends. Everything. That's not a guard in the NFL right now.
Nice.
Wow.
At defensive end.
Yeah.
What's your prediction, Nathan?
So a funny thing is, it feels like the Seahawks are always getting the red zone and kicking field goals. The Chiefs or the Cleveland though is the king of that right now. They have the number 1 kicker points wise in the NFL, number 1 fantasy kicker. They just kick a lot of field goals. So I'm predicting they're going to kick 5 field goals this game and they'll score 15, but the Seahawks will get 23 and win with a couple touchdowns.
All right. Well, great. We're getting towards the end of our show here. Let's do our shout outs here. Quick, I'll go ahead and get us going here. I'm going to give a shout out to Christine and to Keith, who were on my capstone team. We just graduated and we'll be doing our commencement here in December. Nathan, do you have a shout out?
Just it's getting kind of towards the holiday season. So this summer and this fall, I've been volunteering at the food bank a little bit near me, and just it's a great time to donate. It's a great time to maybe step in for a couple days if you have time and volunteer there. So just shout out to your local food bank.
Awesome.
Hey, but I don't want you trying to pull rank on us now just because you're a doctor. All right, I just want to make that clear. I'm going to give a shout out to my younger daughter, Aubrey. She is in gymnastics, and she threw her first back handspring on Monday.
Yeah.
And so it's huge. We had a whole emotional moment about it. They at our gymnastics training center, when you learn a new skill, there's a bell. You get to go ring the bell, and everybody cheers for you. And then you got to go show them, show it for them. And yeah, it was really awesome. She cried. She was so proud and so happy with herself. So So that one, shout out to my youngest.
Fantastic. And I guess Matt Paige, our producer, is going to say shout out to Bobo for president.
Yeah.
Bobo for president.
City council, everything, I guess.
Yeah. What a catch, by the way. That was one of the best catches I've seen like a rookie ever make, I feel like. So
great catch.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad they replayed it because I didn't think it was a catch at first, but it was fantastic.
It looked impossible. I mean, the initial angle was like, okay, there's no way that they got in. I think it definitely took that replay. Like, wait a minute, did he get his feet in? That was amazing.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank everybody for joining us this weekend on the Seattle Sports Union podcast. And keep in touch with us on social media and Facebook, at Twitter at Seattle Sports U. As well, check out our newly redesigned website, seattlesportsunion.com. Keep listening to our podcast here on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and North Beach Community TV. Once again, on behalf of Rob, the SoCal Seahawk English, Nathan Savage, that damn dirty duck Matt Paige, and myself, Abraham DeWeese, we'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.